Morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning.
Well, we have a 6 3/4 point range here at the moment. 86 just touched 79.25. So looking for 60 degrees in our biases. See that there in the C bias right now, even close to that in the B. A little bit of waver. Our 10 minutes just before the 10 o'clock hour. We're actually at 45 degrees. It looks like they've actually just backed off a little bit from 45 degrees. And our fives maybe starting to turn up, threes in a zone where they look like they want to turn down but could move back up again here. We do have the E just backed off, 1D, F not there. There was a bit of a move back up to that 82. And see volume EF, C starting to come down again here. We may see a scalp possibility with the F, volume CEKF. If there is a red arrow that does populate, C still there, volumes still there, ticks look like they're coming in. There's an arrow that just came in on our 317 price chart, just filled the one tick there on that scalp.
Nice quick move down. Right to the bottom of our consolidation range we've been in the last 10 minutes. Those are the nice ones to get where the arrow comes in right at the top of the range and it moves right down to the bottom.
Indeed, yeah.
Right through the sweet spot. Could have even got a few more ticks if we had tried to, but you don't have to get every single tick on a move.
Yeah, could have got 2 ticks at any rate there at 79.50. I was actually in at 80. Looks like there was a little bit of a push down, and looks like it's gone down ultimately. Would have been touching on a point at any rate. 79.25 is that little bit of resistance, and looks like it ticked through another tick and pulled back up again here. One's now angled up quite sharply with the D, F starting to turn as well. Interesting, those threes are almost at 45 degrees down. The bottom one just a little bit off of 45 degrees. And that bottom 3 minute has gone flat. 1DEF maybe coming in. It's backed off. So overall bigger biases, A, B, and C are all angled down. The 10 minutes angled down, not 45 degrees. And let's see if that 3 minute does recover downward. In the meantime, we have 1DE and the F still not there. 1 volume D, there's the F spiking now. If there is a white arrow, there's a white arrow that just came in the 144 chart. And watch this tightly because we do have the 10 minute, and that just dropped down. Wow. That was a real sharp push up there, touched on the one tick and then came back down. And interesting, actually, by the time I got into that thing, and it was really quick after that arrow came in, it had just immediately gone through what was the one tick, came back, got in at the 80-50 level, and never went beyond that again. It was rather odd, actually. I thought that was...
Well, we're still in this consolidation range at the bottom, and sometimes that was a quick drop down and then another push right back up afterwards. tapped on the bottom of the consolidation. Threes just went conflicted or flashing. Fives flashing green as we're tapping the bottom of our range, even or bottom of our consolidation. Ones are turning nicely at the top. Nothing to pair with them.
Someone's asking that last one. It actually stopped me out at the 5 ticks. It just dropped like a dime and then jumped back up again. So if you had an 8 tick stop, you actually would have been fine on that because it went up and would have filled it after that drop down. But it
or you may have got filled originally.
Possible as well.
Yeah. We're moving back up with an EK here, Darren. DEKF. F is flattened, EK just backed off. It looked like a quick move was going to come up. Ones are turning down. See what
you do have a 1 DEF right now.
Yep.
There is a red arrow. Looks like it is pressing this 79. There's a red arrow. It just came in our 144. Just got the tick there on that. You have the 1 still down, that E coming back in again. We may get another opportunity after that little bit of a bounce back up to 79.75. 1 DEF maybe starting to spike. It looks like it is. The E is backed off, D is backed off, so may need a little bit more agreement here to match with the 1s. I can come back in quickly. The F is already starting to spike angle down. See a volume EK. Well, the EK backed off very quickly, but it did come in, spike up to that 80.25 and down again. Volume, 1 EF, and the D is starting to come in. 1 EKF starting to come in here. Oscillating a bit here, volume still angled up. Ticks inconsistent here. See your 5s perhaps in the throes of turning upward, as is the 1s. See the B bias just changed dramatically, as well as the A bias on that 10-10 plot, and still have the 1D downward, volume E coming in upwards. So smaller side of things, there's an opposite impact happening here, one over the other. Looks like the one's starting to turn volume EF. C almost there, volume EKF. And that EK just very quickly backed off. Ten minutes went flatter in that last plot as well. I think I might have mentioned that. Volumes E coming back in again with the F. C pretty much there. Volume CEF. If there is another white arrow here, we're getting things bouncing in and out. We are getting arrows in our 144, but not in the lining up with these setups. 1DEF, and there was an arrow, but it's already dropped down here. It was a quick turnaround. I'd like to see if there is another arrow. We could bounce off this 7850 again here. At the moment, 1DEKF. So we are looking for.
There's another arrow.
There's another arrow that did just come in, tapping on the one and just filled the one tick there.
Nice.
On that. Threes look like they're starting to come toward 45 degrees. We need to see a pullback if we are to look for a 3-1. And 86 is our high, coming close to 77, so 8.5 point range right now. So still looking for 60 degrees in our biases. Ones look like they're trying to hold, or sorry, threes looking like they're trying to hold 45 degrees. Ones volumes still down. 10 minutes still off slightly. I'd like to see a pullback here, even though we're starting to consolidate sideways here. Volumes turning, ticks turning may give us that, or at least we've got a white arrow that just populated in our 144 chart, but our threes have started to soften. In fact, we may almost see an EK upward here. F is there, EK, F, tick volume starting to turn up, D as well. May see a press upward here. We'll need to see that F. Overall, we are coming close to a bigger point of resistance at probably 77, 77.25. You can see that yesterday about 2 o'clock on the 10-minute price chart. And it bounced earlier yesterday as well at that point. You can see toward the left of that level and around noon or so, just before noon. So that will be a significant level there. Volumes have turned up. 3 minutes are flat. Ones may be in the process of turning. Let's see if there is a scalp pressure upward here. Volumes EF and our ones. Volumes EF ones. Let's see if there is a
K is there too.
K is there too. Let's see if there's another white arrow.
I'd like to see that D come in as well.
Lost our volumes, lost the ones, and the tick's not entirely there, lost the E. So real quick dramatic change.
Pushing right down to our recent low. Within a tick of it.
Tens are still noticeably off of 45 degrees. See that one in 5 minutes starting to go red. See if there's anything scalp-wise downward. The 5s and 3s and 1s are all conflicted volumes as well. Overall red bias sentiment, 3s downward, C, D, E, F. So that could have a sell sentiment regardless of our ergodics.
Quick jump up.
Saw the volumes and the ticks come together.
The D.
The D, even the C. We'll need to see the F.
Right at the top of this consolidation.
Tick, C, D. Need the F though. Again, right to the top as you say of the consolidation. C backing off. Still have the volume tick D. Volume tick D. If that F turns up and we get an arrow, there's the F starting to angle up, flattening, angling up a little bit as it comes to the 79. Lost the D. Still have the volume in the tick. There's the E, F. There was a signal right there on the 144. And just, unless I can get this entry here, I tried to get the entry just below it and wasn't able to do that. And that was the sweet spot of it. So I will just have to exit that or remove that unless we see another thing. That was one where the open spot just filled up as soon as I clicked on it, left it there for a second, and then the next open spot was gone at that point.
There's another arrow, the 317.
Yeah, if we can get in at that same level then, and did manage to do that. 317, subsequent arrow with the ones now turning into it.
$79.50 had a lot of contracts there over 1,000 that just backed off.
That one filled the tick there, and that continued to push. We had a first arrow in that 317 price chart with the ones coming in and adding pressure to that. So missed the first entry because the tick level filled up when that 144 arrow came in, but another press and another opportunity with the next arrow that came in the 317 did in fact work out there. Tens are going conflicted, so we are limited here to our 5s and 3s. We see the 5s and the 3s starting to turn, so we may be seeing a press certainly through the 3 minutes right now. Trend line.
Tens are back to red.
Okay. So it opens up the scalp possibility as well. 3s are almost at 45 degrees, even the 5 minutes as well. Press through a little bit of the 3-minute trend line now, pressing against the 5-minute.
Do you have a point of resistance here at 80.50?
80.25, 80.50.
Yeah, an 81, the bigger one at 82. 2.5 points, almost 3 points off our recent low. Low of the morning, actually.
We have a 1 DE.
White arrow.
Yeah, but we didn't have the F. 1 DE. But the F was not there. spike in and out, but not holding there. The 3s are pretty much at 45 degrees for a 3C, 5-3. We need to see a pullback for that. As you say, there's the 81. That may be a turnaround point. Perhaps not. 81, there it is. 3C, 5-3. 3-1 even. Going sideways here in a little bit of a consolidation. May warrant us calling that a pullback. If there is a white arrow that comes in here after going sideways in a consolidation, move through that to 81 by a tick. No arrow. Continued thick E and F here, really keeping us elevated. 3 starting to go flat slightly. Oh, it is still 45 degrees. 5s are still 45. That C bias looks like it's 50, 55 degrees.
K is coming or crossed. It's flashing in and out. Be interesting if we do get a pullback here. We're just moving up between these points of consolidation. Sorry, points of resistance.
Do you still have a 5-3? That C bias is 60 degrees even with the 5C.
Bottom 3 is a little less than 45, just ticking out.
Ticking in and out, but that C bias is 60 degrees.
C is nice. 1 is nice.
Backed off a little bit here.
Probably need the volumes and ticks to finish their cycle, maybe turn up.
We do have a volume tick EF if there is a red arrow.
Downwards with the K.
Downwards with the K.
Green 10s. At the tick point of resistance, or tick trend line.
Yeah.
Just very close on the upper end, actually. Right near the 5-minute, 10-minute trend lines as well.
There was that drop down. It'd be nice to have seen a red arrow at 80.75.
1,000 contracts at 80.50.
Still have our setup. There's a red arrow that just came in on our 317 price chart. And it just filled that tick there.
Point and a half back from our recent high. This is a typical pullback. See if we can hold this level and push back up, or if the market's going to push down further.
Five C. So the 5-minute ergodic and the C. Oh, the C bias just backed off on us. Looking for something that may move us up here. EK may be coming in upward ticks, perhaps tick chart, tick ergodic chart trying to turn upward here. Let's see what transpires. One's trying to turn down, one ergodic's trying to turn down. So we have hit basically a point of resistance here almost on the way up. 81.75, 81.50, 81.25. Just as our 1-minute ergodics are starting to turn down. Fives are up nicely, so a little bit of a decision point here whether the market will move down or move up here. volume E, F. On that last arrow, we had a volume D, E, F, and just filled that one tick there. Last arrow came in at 79.25. And I'm sorry, 79.50 and filled at 79.25. Actually coming down another couple of ticks here as well. That 1 minute's turning added that push downward with the resurgence of the F bias and the volume.
In response to a question here, we are trading the S&P E-mini future, and in terms of all the details of the charts, we do have some overview videos that are very helpful to go through, which explain the components of the charts, and you should have received that. And that's very helpful to understand all the different setups we're watching for. With the price chart, we have price charts across the top in different time frames. We have ergodic charts with ergs in different time frames as well as bias and attack. ATK is our attack charts. We're looking for different combinations of ergs and biases, and in some cases attack. Possible volume EK tick going up right now, Darren.
Volume EK F tick, and the F maybe coming in.
When we
just backed off there a little bit.
We get a corresponding white or red arrow on different setups. White or red arrow on either the 144 tick chart or the 317 tick chart. We can use those as our buy or sell signals. We get a lot of arrows in there that we filter out with our setups. Some are longer term trades, some are quick trades. We've had a lot of quick trades today. Some people don't trade these, what we call them scalp trades. Really all of our trades are scalps, even the bigger ones. True futures traders oftentimes, I shouldn't say true futures, others.
Sorry, 1C. Let's watch for any of the other pairings with the F. We look for 4 components with the F in terms of our scalps, comprised of the 1 volume tick charts, so that could include the 1 volume tick ergodic, the C, D, E, F bias, or the K attack. We always want to see the F be a part of that as well, so whether that's part of the 4 components or additive to the 4 components. And then in our bigger setups, we want to see 2 pairings, base 10, 5, and 3, comprised of adjacent pairings, 10, 5, 10A, 10B, 5A, 5B, 5C, 5, 3, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3, 1. And that's basically what we're looking for. As Greg mentioned, when we do see a setup, we look for a white arrow for buy, red arrow for sell, depending on the direction we're looking at. You see the volume tick E starting to come, EK starting to come. We'll need to see the F as well if there's going to be a scalp upward. There are a few other filters that we look at, but we can mention those over the course of time. But we look for, once the setup is in place, the 144 or the 317 tick chart, which is right there superimposed in the top right-hand corner. 317 the right-hand most, 144 to the left of that. And the reason for the 144 is that in our slower market that we've been having the last number of months, oftentimes we may see an earlier arrow come in on the 144 as opposed to the 317. 144 means that every 144 trades there is a new candlestick plotted versus the 317, which plots a candlestick every 317 trades. So notionally we do have twice as many candlesticks for every one in the 317 with the 144, but notionally the possibility of an earlier arrow if we are looking for that. So when we're looking for an arrow, whichever one comes in first on the 144 or the 317. Quick overview.
I was going to say that all of our trades.
Sorry, 1DF. Let's see if that C bias angles down. There it is, 1 CDF. If there is a red arrow for a tick. So our ergodics, 10-minute ergodics, are conflicted here at the moment. They're flashing in and out, but at the moment they are conflicted. When they are conflicted, one green, one red, we do not look toward our scalps.
We did push down after the setup came in.
Had no arrow regardless, no
yeah.
signal regardless. But
so yeah, we're just going to.
So our 10-minute ergodics are back to agreement. We have a volume tick F, E, and if we can see now a white arrow.
One just came in a few moments ago on the 144.
Yeah, I don't think it was entirely lined up. Regardless, it's pulled back. We'd like to see another one here. One tick EF. We are back to that same level of that first arrow, though we are onto subsequent candlestick. There's an arrow. It did just come in. Filled that there on that 81 level for that scalp. One tick volume. Sorry, not one. Volume tick EF.
Up near our recent point of resistance, 81.50, right at the 10-minute trend line, or tens of turned green. Could be, and if we can break that 10-minute trend line, could head up to the high of the day.
We're already sort of on a sideways consolidation basis, move through the 3s and now even the 5s. So as you say, we could be seeing, if those 10s do turn decisively, a nicer move up toward the high of the day. So let's see what happens. 82 is another point of resistance. Nothing on that white arrow. We did not have the F bias at angle. We do have the the volumes, the D, and the tick. That's about it at the moment. The 1's starting to turn into this as well. We may see those 5s. Bottom one certainly 45 degrees greater than. You can see in the ergodic row and the bias row, we do have ghost lines that show us two angled lines upward and downward. Steeper one 60 degrees, shallower one 45 degrees to give us a visual aid for measuring angle. So you see that 1 5-minute erg is pretty much right on the 60 degree line. The top one's flashing toward 45 degrees, a little bit curved there at the end of it. B bias is about 50 degrees, not yet 60 degrees. Again, we hit 77.50. That's a 9-point range on the day, 86.50 high, 77.50 low. So we still need to look for 60 degrees on our biases, always 45 degrees in our ergodics. In our scalps, because we look at 4 components, we look for 45 degrees in all of those components. Not necessarily 60 degrees on the biases, though. The steeper the better in all accounts. That top 5 minutes starting to angle up, that B bias starting to increase in angle. We see 1 EF. And so if we can see, in terms of our sideways consolidation here, treating that as a pullback, looking for a 5B white arrow with the 1s and the E and the F assisting here.
And at the 10-minute trend line as well, if we can break through here, we could have a pop-up. Oftentimes, say, if we're at a point of resistance and the market moves through, oftentimes it does move through quickly. 5-minute candlestick will be replotted in 20 seconds.
We do see our volumes and our ticks trying to turn red, but the associated biases are still remaining thickly green. Still have that 5B, as you say, 10 seconds for 5 minutes to replat. Let's see if that changes the dynamic of the B bias at all. It may very well, and it did do that. Still have the 5-minute ergodics, but that B bias was lost.
So we don't have the 5B anymore.
Interesting, we had a white arrow though on our 144. Let's see if there's anything scalp-wise that can come in upward. C bias down, D bias down, E bias down, F bias now down. Volume tick EF maybe coming in downward if we see a red arrow in either the 144 price chart or the 317 price chart. Volume tick EF, another couple of ticks drop, another tick drop at any rate. No signal down to the 8050, which is a point of resistance again. Volume tick DEF, that just backed off slightly. See the top 3 minutes starting to turn. Change of pace here, 1DE coming in upward, while we still have the volume in the tick downward. 1DEKF coming in upward if there is.
Backed off. EK backed off.
1DF, that's about all that we have.
Trying to make a
component.
Push through this point of resistance.
Let's try top and bottom here. 1DF.
Red, or the green L is coming in nicely. It just backed off.
One DF, again, still in that same situation, near the top side here. 1DF, still nothing. There's 1CDF if there is a white arrow. Again, it's in the middle of this little consolidation range at the same time as the volumes and the ticks are down. The F backed off on us there. Can come back in again quickly, but at the moment it is backed off. 10s are starting to turn up a little bit more.
5C is close to coming in here too, Darren.
If it holds 60 degrees, yeah.
Right at that 10-minute trend line as well.
Sorry, we do have the volume tick EF again downward, trying on the bottom side again if there's a red arrow in the 144 or the 317 tick price chart.
Break this, we can go to 80, 79, 75.
We tried on the top, we tried on the bottom, we tried on the top, now we're trying on the bottom again. See the ones starting to turn here, top 5-minute flattening in this push down. 1 tick EF, if there is a red arrow in the 144 or the 317 tick chart.
Again, these shorter term scalps are for people who've been on here for a while, have practiced them for a while. Other people just prefer to wait for the 10, 5s, even 3s ERG charts to longer term trades to line up. So while we're waiting for that to happen, we have had some nice scalp opportunities here today we've taken advantage of.
Moved down a couple of ticks there, very close to the end of this possibility. Still looking for, within the next tick or two, a red arrow, but have not seen one in 144 or the 317. Had a couple of ticks pull back here. 5s are in again, but the C, the B, all angled down. Volume CD tick F still there, another little bit of a pullback, so still have that parameter downward if we do see a red arrow. Ticks have come back in again. F is back in. Certainly the volume tick CDF is there. If there is a red arrow here after that little bit of a pullback.
Someone commenting they can't open the PDF files, getting an error message. I just was able to open them. I use Firefox as a browser. When I click on the PDF file, it opens it as a new tab for me in my browser. So my browser is already open. So maybe your browser wasn't open or you use a different browser. But for me with Firefox, it worked.
Ones have turned down now as well. One volume tick, C, D, E, F now. All of them there, if there's a red arrow.
There's the arrow, the 317 or the 144. Here we are, we're pushing back down here, bottom of our consolidation zone.
Still have ones, still have F. See our E has backed off a bit, but C, D, F still there, even the tick. And we have consolidation or a point of resistance up there at 81.75. That's 6 ticks. I need to put it back at 8 ticks if we were to accommodate that 81.75 rather than leave it at the 5 ticks. So that would be, I know we used to have them at 8 ticks, and I wonder whether or not, Greg, we should accommodate that this time. I just moved it back.
It's different about this scalp. The other scalps we got in near the, with more room to move.
Yeah, starting to see a scalp come in the other direction. Just got stopped out there.
Volume, he just backed off. The volume tick, everything turned there very quickly. I guess that last trade, whether you would have had 5 ticks or 8 ticks, it wouldn't have mattered. You still would have got stopped out. I was going to mention that last arrow, compared to the other scalps that came in, we were in a tighter consolidation range, and a bunch of the other scalps came in with more room to move in that consolidation range. This one was right at a point of resistance, and sometimes those are harder to fill. If you have a bigger trade and you're right at the point of resistance and it pops, you can oftentimes get a more profit if it does move through. And we oftentimes see that. We get a strong base 10, base 5 setup coming, and we get arrows and it pops through and sometimes can move a point, 2, 3, 4 points at a time.
Part of the challenge there is we were waiting for quite a period of time. We had our ones and our volumes, and they were moving down in their cycle, and still we're waiting for a red arrow. By the time we finally got it, ones and volumes were, as it turned out, near the end of their cycle there in that time. See the E and the F coming down again here. Not really seeing any change. We're really trapped in a tight range. For the most part, we've been in the range of 82 to, well, 77.50, which is 4.5 point range, but that was a little bit of an aberration. Really, we've been in the range, apart from that downward move of like 70, 78, 75, 79 to our 82. So in 45 minutes of tight range here. Only thing available has been some scalps. Even though we've had some close possibilities on base 5s. Maybe starting to see the 10 minutes come to 45 degrees though.
Volume E spiking, volume EF, tick D. If we get a white arrow right at the top of our recent high, we broke through the consolidation a few moments ago. There's a white arrow.
Just filled the tick there on that.
This may move a little higher with those 10s and 5s coming in. A and B bias are flat, so we couldn't transition. But longer term, seeing, I'm liking this going up, given we broke through that 10-minute trend line on that last push up. The 10s and 5s angled up. 1's volumes are still there. 1 volume may get another scalp come in here. F just backed off. Still nice. 1 ergs, 1 volume angled up. 10-5. We have some bit of angle on that B bias here, Darren. If we get a white arrow, we could be looking at a 10-5. The B bias is sort of flickering in and out of flat to some angle.
Certainly seeing the C bias angle up 1 volume in there. Let's see if we can see another. Well, we are in the midst of a pullback here, but I'd like to see something even further if we can. That 10-minute looks like it's pretty much right on 45 degrees. As you say, the A and the B somewhat flat. Ideally, I'd like to see another pullback to this 317 tick trend line. Some B bias angle there now. So if we do see white arrow, we do have the 10-5, actually a 5C now, more clearly. Not a set of 10, as we don't have angle in the A yet. Certainly 5C and even a 10-5. Looking for a white arrow. There's a white arrow on the 144. Price chart came in at 82.50. 3-tick target, and we completely lost that C. We still have the B bias starting to flatten slightly, but we still have the B bias agreeable for the 10-5 to continue to hold this. B bias is flickering here a little bit upward, continuing to hold this as a 10-5 with the B bias. See our 3 starting to turn, just trying to give this a little bit more leeway with the 1 minute still angling up. E bias, F bias still pretty thick in the green. Our overall pressure upward with the 10 minutes. And B bias, as I say, wavering, could get another little bit of a push, but this also could turn down here. So this is a little bit of a challenge spot here in terms of this hold. 10-5 still there with the ergodics, that B bias, giving us a little bit of ankle support as it ticks up and down between 3 ticks down and 1 tick down. 1's starting to fade here a little bit. Volume tick. EF all angling down at the moment. Let's see if there's another little bit of a push there. That B bias again flickering upward. Again a push to 2 ticks, 1 tick down. again, we lost that B bias, the top 10-minute. Looks like just going to have to exit at one tick down there on that, Greg. With the top 5-minute flat and both the A and the B slightly angled down now. Even that 1 10-minute is a little bit flatter at that 10:50 time frame replot.
It's pushing up.
Yeah, I know.
It held on but you know what? Better to get out a tick down than have a quick drop like we've seen many times when some of those ergodics or biases weaken. The higher probability push is when you have a strong erg, strong bias, and have multiple of them.
You see our 3 minutes turning, and the C bias still remains down. So we have this level you can see on the left of the 10-minute price chart was a point of resistance yesterday around 12 to 1 p.m. on the time line at the bottom. So, and our three just went, one of them went back to green at the 10:51, plotting there again. So we'd have the volumes, the ticks, the E, the F downward. We may, see a scalp downward here. One starting to turn. So volume tick E, F starting to show its spike angle down, C, D, even the ones turning here as well. Do have the 10 minutes up, but again, that bottom 10 minutes slightly off 45 degrees. Now, of course, the A and the B slightly angled down. That top 5 minutes slightly flatter.
3 and 1 went conflicted. As we're pushing up to the top of this consolidation zone. Someone's asking why we've had lower volumes and market range has been low for the last while. Actually, over the whole summer, we've had low volume compared to what we used to have. Normally in the fall time, and as we get into October and November, December, trading will pick up. Of course, this is the last day of October, and oftentimes the Fed announcements can impact the market as well. Saw higher trading volumes when the announcement was made the other day. We are closing in on that 2100, the S&P, and we, through a good part of the summer, we were around that 2100 or sometimes around the 2000 as well. And we've noticed that around those ranges, the market become, especially the 2100, the market near all-time highs is a little tentative and gets into a tighter trading range. Just some things that we've observed. We get near that 2100, we call it our magnet theory. It's like the market gets drawn there, and right now the actual S&P is 11, 12 points off of that mark. It seems like the market gets drawn in there and then hangs out there for a while before it can get out. And once it does move out, here's a volume E, F coming downwards with a D, C supporting it
as well. If there is a red arrow on that.
We gain the bottom of our consolidation range.
We've been in this tighter range of 81.75, 82.75 for about almost 15 minutes, which is very tight. Ones are starting to turn as well now.
And if you go back to yesterday afternoon as well, you can see that we're trading right in the range. See that on the 10-minute price chart.
One volume E, C, and then the F. There is a red arrow. One C, volume E, F. No arrow yet, but boy, did all of those biases start to turn.
Tapped out of that shorter consolidation zone. Another point of resistance at 81. And then, of course, at 80. One volume EF. BC.
BCD.
Yep.
I'd like to have seen an arrow already here before that break of 81.50.
And that said, given the strong downward indication, we've only moved down a couple of ticks. In a faster moving market, you'd oftentimes see the market move a point by now, maybe a point and a half.
Again, sorry, we moved down here and extended our 1 minute volume red ergodic cycles. Maybe close to the end of that, but still looking for a red arrow. Well, there's a red arrow that did just come in. And let's see if we can fill that. It already moved down here a little bit, but I just filled that one tick there. Threes are conflicted, 3 ergotics, 5s are conflicted. Huge B bias, C bias still in the red. 1 volume, perhaps near the end of their red cycle, may turn up again here. 80 is a potential bounce spot.
See that green K attack trying to turn up. If we see the volumes and ones and volumes turn with an EK and possibly a tick.
Certainly taking a bounce off of this 80 here. Volume tick F. E starting to come in upward. We did have a white arrow that did just come in right there on the 144 price chart at 81.50. and just filled the one tick there. That was a nice quick move on the start of the turn of those ergodics. Very nice to see.
Got 1,000 contracts at 81.25 and again at 81.75. Looks like maybe trying to build a small wall. If it can break through there, we can possibly push up.
See our 3 starting to flash downward to 45 degrees. That might be interesting if it holds.
Those contract levels have come down.
Do have the ones in the volume still upwardly angled, not 45 degrees. Someone's asking about the 10-minute ergodics. One of them definitely is 45 degrees as you measure against the ghost line. It's actually greater than that. But the other one, and we're more concerned about the tip of it, especially when it starts to curve up. You want to measure that angle against the tip. Only now you started to see it waver a little bit on the tip toward that 45 degree ghost line. When both of them are 45 degrees as measured, if necessary, at the tip of each line, then that's when we consider them 45 degrees, not in relation to where they are within that chart range, within the ergodic chart range. It could be at the bottom, it could be in the middle, it could be at the top. It's the angle, and then particularly on the ends of the ergodic lines that we look for. See the 1 minute's angled up at 45 degrees, close on the volumes. Ticks are certainly there.
Biases are coming down,
ticks,
though.
Yeah, biases are coming down.
A little bit of contradiction.
Mm-hmm. And you can see, as I say, for the most part, we've been in this 82 to 78.50 range for basically an hour, and that is a tight range. All of our trade opportunities have been scalps, save for a 10.5, which started as a 5C. But apart from that, everything has been scalps. We've had a couple of scalp losses that's knocked us down, but for the most part, every other scalp, bar those 2, have been tick gains. Sometimes the angles have been a little bit stronger, and there was, in retrospect, the chance of gaining 2 ticks or even 3 ticks on some of those. When we see the information really sharp in terms of the scalp setup, there the 5s have turned red here, and the market has not moved too far away from where we're looking for a particular arrow on a scalp, and we're not up against another point of resistance, that may be a basis upon which to target 2 ticks as opposed to 1 tick. But the easier option clearly shows to be the tick gain. And the only reason we did move that stop on the last one was because we were up against, with our 5 tick stop, the support, and wanted to give it a bit of a leeway there. Interesting, the earlier loss of 5 ticks, if we had had an 8 tick stop, we would have gained a tick on that. So, the market is fickle at times, and you can't concern yourself with, if I had have done this, the past is the past. In that sense, you've made your decision based on valid factors, and you just move forward. And if it does look like there may be some stronger information and the market's still waiting to move, we may discuss the possibility then of targeting 2 ticks as opposed to 1. It's certainly a lot clearer and a lot more likely when we have more than a 10-point range. Being trapped in essentially a 3.5-point range for an hour and 5 minutes makes that prospect a little bit more challenging. Ones are up, ticks are up, nothing to match that with. 5s not 45 degrees down, 10s not 45 degrees up, 3 minutes conflicted. See the E bias starting to angle up, so we may have a 1E tick F that may come in upward. Let's watch for that possibility. Ones could be near the end of their green cycle here. There's that E spiking up with that F. So here we have very close possibility within the range up to 82 of a scalp. See that E angling up, the F starting to do that there as well as it ticks to 81. And backing off here slightly. You can see we've been over 10 minutes here, even in a tighter range again, right back into this 81.75 to say 80.25 range. Apart from that move up to 82.75, we've been here since almost, I guess, 10:30 or so. We have a 1D tick F. There was a white arrow just right now, and boy, that was a massive jump. There was a white arrow just before that spike happened on the 144 at 81, and that would have been sort of the ideal time to see everything come in. But again, with our 80.50, can't really move that back. The next level is the 80.79.75, so that would be too far of a stop. Just hope for another push up here, and that was not to be with that scalp there.
Still in this consolidation range. Again, when that last jump came, that was a very quick jump. It's one of the ones you got your finger on the trigger, and you click the open spot, and it turns out to be the very top of your consolidation zone.
And then it just immediately drops down.
Again, these are scalps, something one needs to practice, and if you're comfortable with that happening, That's good. If not, this isn't your type of trade to take. Just wait for the bigger setups to come in, which haven't had very much of here today, largely because we've been trading in a much tighter range. When we do get out of this range, should have some nice movement though. Three ergs both going green. The bottom one was red. It'd be nice to get those threes back into a nice sine wave pattern. Nice to see them both going green with a C bias coming in. Of course, the ones at the top are turning red.
Those threes have been conflicted since about 10:40, so about half an hour. And similarly on our 5 minutes. So we've really had no real direction here. And of course we see that in the range that we're in. Three's now starting to turn. Let's see if that comes in. A little bit of pressure in the C and the D, but nothing scalp-wise.
Strong green eye attack coming in.
Again, we see the 10 minutes off slightly as well.
Yep.
Interesting, the top 5 minute went red now.
1EF.
1EF with the tick.
And the L.
1EF tick. There is a red arrow.
And hopefully higher in this consolidation range.
Ideally, yeah.
The market gets into consolidation, it often moves within that range up and down. If you can get in on a move coming down, we had a bunch of them earlier today. There's a red arrow.
There's a red arrow, 80.50. 80.25 is a resistance. Even 80. Nice to see this on the one turn though. E continuing to be there. K separation. F. Even the ticks. But it is at the near the bottom of this range. Ideally would have liked to have seen that coming even a tick higher.
E spiking down. Ones are still there. Bottom tick is flattened. Moving up in our upper part of our consolidation zone. We can still haven't seen that E go into green. It's still ticking down. I think we are, as you mentioned, down further in the range. There we go. Nice.
Filled the tick there.
Right at the trend line and pushing through. Pushing down towards the bottom. 79.75 is our recent low.
Have stronger information here now. 1DEF tick, even the volumes in the C. This is still in this same move down as that original.
There's another red arrow on the 317.
Yeah, so we can look to take that right there, the 79.75, tapping on the one tick, 79.50. This may move through this level here. We already our overall advance down, so looking just for the one tick gain. Gained that tick there as well on that continuation. One volume tick, EF. That was a continuation there, as it turned out, as it moved through that 80 level. Another couple of ticks.
You never know when that's going to happen. But the setup has still stayed strong. One volume tick.
The one came in as well afterwards, so
yep.
That also was the additive factor.
With the DE strong K.
So we may actually move down to the bottom of the range here today. As the threes start to turn down, we're coming into 45 degrees in our threes. And we have the resistance at 78.75, 78.50. That's the most recent low. 77.50, obviously the low of the morning. So quite possibly could see a bounce off of that 78.75 level, in which case we could possibly see another opportunity. See those threes starting to come back again. The bottom three went sideways here a little bit, more so consolidation in our 144. This is near a resistance, so see the ones maybe starting to turn. Still have pressure downward. Lost the D though. Lost the C. Don't have 60 degrees in the B. So the threes are down, but this may be a pullback here. I'd like to see that, quite frankly, rather than the sideways consolidation. Threes are still strong. That B bias coming close to 60 degrees here now, Greg, on that push down. Had a little bit of a consolidation further sideways with a movement back to the 80. So that spike down to 79.25 gives us 60 degrees in the B bias if we see a red arrow at the bottom part of this range. Ideally, we'd like to see more of a pullback. See the volume starting to turn. That might give it to us. Of course, the B bias has come back to 45 degrees, and that bottom 3 minute is fading. So this is the more preferred view if to see the smaller charts move up here in a cycle. Again, those threes are coming back. That B bias is coming back. Another push up to 80 and another move down here. If there's a red arrow on our 3B in the 144 or the 317 tick price chart.
Tapping through that bottom.
Lost the B, so nothing there. 5-3, slight C bias. A bias about 45 degrees. Our 10 minutes are conflicted now, so can't look at scalps. There's a red arrow on a 5-3. 79, 3-tick target given our less than 10-point range. Slight C bias angle. And 78.50 is a point of resistance. If it can move through that, we may see it move down to the 77.50. Again, with a tighter range, you may want to target 1 or 2 ticks, even though it is a 5-3, given that 78.50 level. Starting to go shallow on our 3 and our C bias. It was still pressing down there. We've got the ones and the volumes and the ticks starting to turn against us, so we may just have to exit here, and I did at 2 ticks down on that 5-3. And conflicted 10s, we can't look at a scalp upward here.
Here we are moving right back down into, if we hadn't got out with the weakened setup.
And we lost both the B and the C and the 3 minute.
Yeah.
That was the challenge there.
Smaller charts were moving up, had nothing to hold on to with the transition.
We'll need to see some manner of pullback here. 5s are still nice. 3s have obviously come back into play, and there would have been tapping on our 3 ticks.
Minutes are conflicted. Let's see what happens with this one volume tick. EK, DEF are deep in the red, so it may not amount to much. And volume isn't quite 45 degrees. It'd be interesting what kind of move does come out of this, whether it's just a few ticks back. The bottom 3 went green. We're at the tick trend line.
Five's just plotted flatter now as well.
Well, we had those sharp 1 volume tick, and it hasn't pushed up a lot yet. Partly in due, I'm thinking, because of the red biases. Let's see if even though we did have the green K and L attack, just holding this tick trend line. Still conflicted 10s, nothing to pair with the 5 ergs. Well, the 5 ergs actually aren't 45. A bias is slightly more than 45 down. We are down near a point of resistance. We bounced off this spot earlier. And even a few ticks further down, another point further down is another hard point of resistance from this morning and even yesterday afternoon. Spiking D. 1D, 10 ergs are back there, Darren. We can consider a scalp. There's a buy arrow on the 144.
I'll go fill that tick there on that.
Still holding this level. Still sharp ones volumes tick. Continuing to hold this and press up. Ones and volumes ticks are right at the top of the chart, so see if they keep pushing higher.
You're seeing those 5 minutes are now down 45 degrees, though flashing a bit off on the bottom. C, D, E. This is one where these biases, the momentum has just come in and it's not dissipating here at the moment, but at some point you would expect those to just back off with the volumes, the ticks, the ones turning. At the moment, that's not there. And we are almost 3 points now off of that low of 78.25. We'd definitely like to see a pullback even on a scalp basis to consider anything further upward here. 81 was a point of resistance here from earlier. Also the 3-minute trend line and the 5-minute trend line there as well, downward trend line. So here we do have a pullback as the ones are starting to turn, and the volume and the tick.
Still deep DEF biases. Nothing on our larger charts to consider. Red K attack, red J attack coming in, but those biases are still deep. Deep in the green. Holding this tick trend line. Let's see if we can hold this here with the ones, volumes, and ticks turning. May get a scalp down here. One volume tick. DE. It's almost 45. Like it to be 60. Given we're still within our 10-point range today.
Well, just when we have the 4 components, we just need 45
true.
scalps.
True.
3's quickly turned here to 45 upward, though. Interesting. On that 1133 plot. Nothing downward here, just the tick and the E and the F. Do have the L crossing. That's not
J,
one
K,
of
and
the
L.
components, but
Yep. J's not one of them either. K just backed off. J backed off.
volume 1 starting to turn. Volume F. Almost the volumes in the 1s. Interesting, those 3's, though. Again, in this little tight range, actually been about 6 or 7 minutes here, again in this 81 to 79.75 range. So we have one volume tick F right now, if there is a red arrow.
Red K as well. Let's come back in.
Some sharpness coming in as well, so there's the possibility even of, in this early part of this range, maybe even targeting 2 ticks. See the 1 volume tick F. The D and the E are angled down, but they're still thickly in the green. And 79.75 is a resistance level here. And move through, no arrow.
Quick drop of a few ticks. We oftentimes see this when we move out of a consolidation zone.
Yeah, that's ideally where we want to see that arrow, but
yep,
did not populate.
We'll wait for the next one to come in.
Moved down 3 ticks already from that 79.75 level, getting close to the extent of where we want to see an arrow before we see another pullback. Seeing little jumps up and down here in the course of candlesticks plotting. Still with a 1 volume tick, very nice now, and the D, E, and F, but just not producing an arrow. So the low there, 78, or the next low, 78.25. So there's the possibility even of targeting 2 ticks if we do see a red arrow. CRF has just gone a little bit flat, but it is recovering. The bottom part of this range still looking for an arrow, but we have been looking for this for a while as it's pulled off of the 81 down to the 79. 2-point pullback here.
A couple of minutes already.
Yeah. Actually more than a couple of minutes in this movement down. Still looking for a red arrow. Coming up to that resistance level again at 78.25, so really just if we get an arrow here, about the extent of where we would want to see one, probably just targeting 1 tick here. Still the 1 volume D, E, tick, F. White arrow and red arrow. Well, there's our red arrow. Interesting. Just going to target the 1 tick here, given how close we are to that 78.50. Interesting, I got the white arrow in the 144 and a red arrow on our tick chart. It had advanced down, and that was the challenge. Down from where we originally wanted to see it at 79.75. I just got stopped out on the 5 ticks there on that. And had moved down quite far, but these are rules there. It was still within the parameters of taking that
It's interesting. We had a white arrow and a red arrow at the same time, and that's not something that we've had before in the past. Interesting. There's a white arrow on the 144 and red arrow on the 317.
All the time we had the setup downward. Now we're starting to see a setup upward. That white arrow was almost predictive of that turn, it seems. Don't have the F though on that white arrow on the 317. And again, similar situation. It's moved from 79 up to 81 already before you saw that really come in even as a setup. Threes have turned here. Looks like the ones are starting to come up to 45, but our C and D biases are down. Interesting, the one volumes ticks until recently were up. And just oscillating in the top of this range here now for 20 to 25 minutes here now. Just the tightest of days. Three, one. If we see a white arrow, that D bias angling up. Bit of a sideways consolidation, more noticeably in the 144. This, of course, is something that's looking to break through the 81. At least that's the perspective that we're looking at here. One backing off here, so that's no longer at the moment a possibility. And even the 3 has gone flat.
Moving down to the bottom of our recent consolidation zone for the last 20 minutes or so. There's no setups. Conflicted 10 ergs, 5 ergs are flat and very slow. Just wait and be patient. The market moves out of this range. If we keep moving higher, we could take a run towards a 2100. If that doesn't happen, we have a long way we can drop here down even 2050. Seeing back a couple of days on the 10-minute chart.
Three one perhaps coming in. We'll need the C or the D. 1F, maybe the ticks. See if a scalp comes in upward. See that D bias starting to come up toward flatness. 30 seconds until our 10s and 5s replot. 10s are now agreeable, so we can consider scalps as well. 3-1, there was an arrow right there that just came in. And right at the 80, well, 80.50, I tried to get 80.25, but that wasn't available. Look to lock in one tick, but just targeting the 3 ticks at 81.25. See the 5 minutes starting to turn underneath this as well. Interestingly, 11.50, we saw a nice turn in the 5 minutes. And top one starting to fade here a little bit. Let's see if we can continue to hold with a surge in our smaller charts to continue this push upward. Just holding.
5s have turned in to support
slightly.
This.
Yeah, even a slight C bias angled upward there, flashing green now for a 5-3 hold. Ones have come back again, D bias spiking again, C bias. This could be a possibility of a burst through the 81, 82, 81.75 is the next level, even just targeting the 81.75 in case it bursts through, but locking in the 3 ticks at 81.25. If it can move through the 81, which would lock in the 3 ticks, but have the possibility of a burst up to 81.75. If it opens up here at the 81.25, I will give it a little leeway, but look to have that lock in. There it is, moving up a little bit further, still hovering over the 81.25, and just took the 3 ticks there, the 81.25. Gave it a slight opportunity to move up to the 81.75, even potentially of locking in 1 full point, but took the 3 ticks there, Greg.
And there it moved up now. It took the low-hanging fruit. Given the way things have been today, very tight. You can see a possible move coming in. And we've seen these types of moves already today, and they back off when they get to the point of resistance, and this is coming into a strong point of resistance. We have to break through this point of resistance. More aggressive strategy would be maybe lock in a tick. Of course, we took 3 ticks. Given where our entry was, we could have locked in a tick and held. Pushing through a little more now. Need to wait for a pullback before we can consider getting into a trade again. Still do have a strong 5-3 up. B is coming close to crossing over. C, we're pulling back a 1.5 right now, 1.25. We're at the tick trend line. 5.5 minutes left in our session. Still strong 5-3 up. C is weakening a bit. B bias is still angled up nicely. Coming back down to the tick trend line, 81. Someone had to have locked in a tick on that previous trade. The tick would have been, well, from our entry. I think you and I were both in at the same point there at 80.50, Darren. 80.75 would have been the tick lock in. And now a bounce spot off that tick trend line. Shorter term ones and volumes, tick ergs are turning down. See how far they do pull back for. We did pull back 5-6 ticks. Could consider another white arrow on the 5-3.
Yeah, this is also a point of resistance, but we still have the 5-3. Despite our ones, volumes, tick turn, we still have thick D, E, and F biases.
Would have liked to have seen a red arrow for a stronger pullback, but we don't always get that.
Here's a white arrow. Trying to get the 81.75. I did actually. And 82.50 is the 3 tick thing, which is also the last point of resistance. So I'll put my target higher, but again, same principle. You can actually be more conservative and try to target just 2 ticks, 82.25, given the 82.50 level, or just leave it on 82.50, 3 ticks, regardless of that point of resistance, or target a little bit higher, give it the opportunity to move through that, lock in 1, 2, or 3 ticks, and see if it can even scoot up past the 82.75 level even, and move up beyond that. Beyond that, we do have something around 84 from yesterday, but 86 obviously from this morning. Actually, I think it was 86.50, but
There we're pushing up. Again, that high of 82.75. It's a point of resistance. And push through there, we'll lock that in. A nice EK spike coming in on the tick.
It's 5B undertaking this, even close to a 5A. So it's 10 minutes starting to come up as well, 10.5. So a lot of bigger stuff coming in underneath this, but at the moment the smaller charts are, at least ergodic-wise, still against this position. Biases still in the green, though angled down, holding this level here.
3 is ticking in and out the bottom erg. You see that spiking. Can have a push up. As you say, I'd like to see the ones and volumes turn. Though it's nice to see the C, D, E, F all in the green, though they do have, some of them have some angle down, holding this level. For tracking purposes, we will be out of the trade at noon, regardless of where we are. Fives are flashing in and out. 3 has gone red.
Yeah, I'm just looking to
2 seconds left.
And just got 3 ticks down on that exit.
We did lose that setup just as we came into the noon time. Shorter term, we have a 1 volume DE, 1 volume tick DEF. There's been no red arrows. Darren's just tallying up her score here. A lot of scalps we've done today. Way more than we've had in a long time. Most of them have actually been very successful. A few of them we got stopped out on. Depending on where one got in, they may have actually filled and got their target if they're able to do a tick better than we did. A few of them did hang around that spot for a bit and try to make a push, even tapped on our tick before coming back. Today is the last day of October, and for those that I believe this is the weekend where the clocks fall back. So certainly, if you're in a time zone where that happened, check that out for Monday. You don't want to be an hour early. Those of you who are on the session this afternoon, continue to watch for strong angles on the ergs and biases. 45-degree angle on the ergs. We're within a 10-point range today, so still look for a 60-degree angle on the biases. Practice on your trading ladder. And you don't have to get into every move, but just become comfortable with certain setups. Get the feel of the market, how it's going, and how it interacts with the setup, and develop a good batting average. Darren's just tallying our score up here for the day and for the week, and we'll be right back here with us in a minute. Want to thank everyone for being here with us today. Questions are always welcome. Of course, our support guys do a great job of answering questions offline too, if that's the way you prefer to ask your questions. Just lacked a bigger trend here today in terms of the 10s. We didn't have nice sharp 10 ergs, and long term that's what we like to see. Nice angle on those 10 ergs. It's been drifting up, but we've mostly stayed in a tighter range for a good part of our morning.
Well, today, as you say, mostly scalps and a few stop outs, which did negatively impact our overall total, even though the win percentage was actually quite good. We were down 2.5 points on our scalps today as a result of several stop outs of 1.25 on, I think, 3 occasions, and then with a pullback based on a support level of, we had a 2-point stop out as well on the ticks. So overall we had probably, it looks like about 13 or 14 winning scalp trades, but we lost on 4 of them, and that impacted that level. 10-5 we were down a tick, 5-3 down down 1.25 points, and 3-1 up 3 ticks. So down 3.25 overall on the day. Tight range, very tight range. For the most part, we were in just a 4-point range on the day, and tighter increments there throughout. On the week, we were up 1 point on our setup 10, and we were down on the non-setup 10 regular, down 14.75 on that. We had some extras this week as well, and in our extras we were down 2 points on the setup 10. Well, we also had the Fed day as well. Fed day we were down 2 points on the setup 10 and down 0.5 point on the non-setup 10, but overall on the extras on the week we were down 2 points on the setup 10 and down 5.5 on the non-setup 10. So that's the results then for this week.
Yeah, I just want to
Go ahead.
comment again on a few of those scalps that we lost. Just an observation. We take all setups that come in for the tracking, and as one does start to trade and develop their own trading acumen, just an observation, some of those scalps we did lose were near the bottom of a consolidation zone, and the ones that were higher in the consolidation zone when we got in going down are the ones lower that we got in going up, filled very nice and very quick. And some of our stop outs actually came where we were right at the edge, and those can actually turn into nice bigger trades. But in these cases, given our tight range for the day, they didn't break through and end up getting stopped out. So just an observation to watch and learn from. And thanks, Darren, for your great commentary here today. Everyone have a great weekend. Thanks again for being here. We'll see everyone back here Monday morning. Remember to put your clocks back. Thanks. Bye.